Hi, and welcome to the 2020 Economic Recession and Preparation channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this update weekend edition. Well, today, finally, the Senate and the GOP reached a tentative $1 trillion pact to break the sickness outbreak logjam. There has been much talk about a second stimulus bill, and they said that both agreed that it will start the negotiations would start at $1 trillion. So this bill will be at a minimum $1 trillion bill. Some wanted it to be even more. The Democrats have proposed passing a $3.4 trillion bill, but the Republicans intended to release their plan on Thursday of this week. But now they've come to an agreement saying that they wanted to agree for $16 billion for sickness testing as part of the Republican proposal, and they plan to offer $16 billion in new funding for that. They also wanted to, in this bill, to add more money, $70 billion for the K through 12 education of all schools, with half of the money going to cover costs for schools that have reopened. So a lot of schools in the country, particularly in the Northeast and in the Midwest, have decided on virtual education for this upcoming school year, whether they start in September or August or even later. They're not going to risk putting their teachers in danger because of this sickness. So they added $70 billion for these schools to get ready for those schools who are returning physically. $30 billion will be doled out to colleges and universities not tied to reopening. And the last $5 billion of this plan will be for the governors of each state to allocate how they see fit, wherever they see fit of this money. So, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin told reporters Wednesday that he agreed to provide Americans with another round of direct payments, which the administration, of course, has been pushing for weeks. However, the details have yet to be settled upon. He said he won't get into specifics right now, but there is an agreement. It isn't clear, however, if the direct payments will mirror those of the initial package where most people got $1,200 stimulus in March. Now, this is very interesting because the $600 a week federal payments for unemployment is set to run dry at the end of the month, the 31st, with no extension. There was talk by the Treasury Secretary and the Republicans of extending that, but they want to cut it down to $100 a month. $100 a week, instead of the $600 a week program. So let me ask you this: who's going to be able to live off and sustain off $100 a week extra unemployment insurance plus the regular unemployment if they're not getting a full-time wage? How can people live off that and sustain a living off that, for the future? It's just not going to be a very good situation. Now, another thing the Treasury Secretary said that was very interesting was he said that this will be the last stimulus package of this year. There will be no more stimulus packages granting this year. So this is it. And really, the government has no more money to spend. They're using these last phase 1 through phase 4 sickness packages, and that's it. That's all the money that's in the cookie jar to spend. And so that's why I say things are going to get really bad in the fourth quarter, heading into the winter and into that next quarter in 2021. We're going to be in a tailspin because there's no more money to be spent on the budget. We're at record-breaking federal deficit at $24 trillion and climbing, not counting all this money here that we're printed up now for this next bill. We have a soaring national debt. We have no jobs. There's no jobs. The job unemployment report came out this Thursday. 1.4 million additional jobs lost today. Okay. So, and this is just as we predicted. I told you last week or a couple of videos ago, I told you that there would be another additional 1.3 million, and we even beat that expectation. Now it's 1.41 million jobs lost for the week ending July 18th. Okay. So, and this also means that this is the 18th straight week that we've had over 1 million jobs lost. Okay, 18 straight weeks. And this is going on the 6th month of this sickness outbreak. We're going on 6 months since we've known about this sickness in the United States. And so we are in for a world of hurt. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin said Thursday that an extension in unemployment benefits will be based on approximately 70% wage replacement. So now he says you're only going to get 70% of your wages, while most of the companies and rich folks, the top 1%, they get 100% stimulus packages. They don't get a reduction, but the average worker is going to get 70% wage replacement. That's the next check. So I wouldn't be looking too much for this next stimulus check. Like I said, you probably those if you get it, we'll probably be receiving it in late August to early September. And those checks will be mailed out much more the same as the first checks will be mailed. I mean, not mailed out, but they'll be direct deposited, as the first check was direct deposited. So, all this means is that, and you notice now, the states that have the highest sickness outbreak also have the highest files of unemployment. Here are the states. It's California, Florida, Texas, Georgia, New Jersey. Those are the states that have. It's ironic. They have the highest new sickness cases. They also have the highest new initial claims for unemployment. Isn't that something? Okay. Data compiled by the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, so the number of confirmed cases is nearing 4 million and 140,000 deaths. That's the sickness cases. But the unemployment claims last week, California saw the highest number at 292,673,000. The Labor Department showed. Florida and Georgia each reported more than 100,000 claims for last week as well. This is the 18th straight week that we've had totals more than 1 million, and it's not stopping. So now, the unofficial numbers, we have over 55 million people unemployed in the United States, let alone other countries that are struggling, that are still in a recession. Matter of fact, that has also been something. And the headline by CNBC today and yesterday shows July jobs report could show no progress and even a reversal as the virus spreads. There's no mention also of adding jobs to the economy. Do you remember a couple of months ago in February and January where they were mentioning more, the media was mentioning more of adding jobs? There's no mention of that. And also notice that for those of us who still are fortunate enough to be employed and self-employed or have a job, there's no mention of hiring new additional employees like they used to. There's no mention of raises or bonuses for those who work in hospital settings or other settings. All of that has gone away. Economists say the weak job market makes it even more important for Congress to help workers in the next stimulus package, which is currently being debated. There is no help for Main Street, only Wall Street, okay? If you remember seeing, if you were seeing my friends in Kentucky, hundreds of unemployed Kentucky residents were waiting long lines outside the Kentucky Career Center. The lines were around the corner, okay, in that center in Frankfort and Lexington and all those areas. It's going to get real bad, and it's going to get worse, okay? And that's why I tell people that you have to be self-sufficient. Once your money runs out, your brain never runs out. Your brain never runs out of resources and out of ideas on how to survive. And so you just have to put it to use. And forget about making dollars and cents, but start using your brain. Start growing your garden. Start getting in better physical and mental shape. Start thinking about survival supplies you need, because all it takes is one more black swan event before this election. Maybe the power goes out in some states, like in New York, for a month or something. Or maybe half the country doesn't have power. Maybe there is another hurricane that knocks out some states, okay? That is the kind of issue that we're looking at. We're at the point now where anything goes, okay? And now they're spending money that they don't have. The government is spending money that they don't have, and they're going to continue to spend money that they don't have, because their main objective is to maintain order within chaos. To remember that, to maintain order and decency among chaos, okay? They cannot come out and tell you that, we don't have any more money in the piggy bar jar, because most Americans are not prepared. They would throw a temper tantrum. They would, there would be high crime in the streets, and there would be a disastrous thing. But those who can read between the lines, like you and I, and we know what's coming, then we know that we have to use every resource that we have, whether it's monetary, physical assets, monetary assets, spiritual assets, to pray and to prepare for what is coming, because this is only delaying the inevitable. And as more and more people realize that the jobs are not coming back and they can't even get unemployment benefits, and that means that things are going to go very downhill very, very faster than most of us thought that it will. So The next economic report is scheduled to be released later on August the 7th. That's some big numbers for the July unemployment report, the aggregate report. And also, we're going to be should be looking for another Federal Reserve Chairman meeting in August too as well. And we're going to see what they do with these interest rates, but don't expect the interest rates to stay the same. They're going to continue to be around zero, may even go negative. And I think that's what they may be doing if this economy gets any worse, is to go negative interest rates. So that's the update for today. Be blessed, y'all. Stay prepared. And I'll be back with you shortly.